Greetings, family, and welcome back to another African math tutorial. Today we are going to be going over subtraction, double-digit subtraction specifically. Now, as we've learned in previous lessons, we know that these symbols up here, this symbol to the left represents 1, which represents 1 unit, like our little village girl right here. And this curved symbol here, which represents the opening of an Nkosini house, represents a house of 10, represented by the sticker of a house. And to do and there are two ways that we can do subtraction in answering this puzzle, right? We can use our wonderful beads over here to the right, or we can use our African numerals on top. First, we're going to use the beads to get the concept together, and then we're going to use the pictorial numerals because that makes it easier to write on paper in case we don't have our beads. So firstly, we need to place our values into the place space. Now, if you've been following along, you know that a house of 10 has 10 units inside of it. And for this game, we're going to be using green beads to represent houses of 10, all right? Yellow beads will be used to represent villagers or bits, and red beads will be used to represent takeaway pieces, all right? So what we're going to start by doing is just focusing solely on our first number right here. Our number is 32, right? Now, 30 is telling us that we have 3 10s. So to place 30 into our place space, we're going to bring 3, 1, 2, 3 10 beads into our place space to represent 30, all right? Then we're going to bring in 2 other beads. Now, we're not going to bring in green beads because those represent 10s. We're going to bring in yellow beads because those represent bits. So we have 3 houses and 2 villagers. So we're going to bring in 1 and 2, like that. Now we're getting to the subtraction part. So an interesting thing about this game is that red takeaway pieces represent takeaways no matter what place value they're in. Red can be take away 100, take away 10, take away 1. It all depends on where you place them inside of the game, okay? So we're going to, our next puzzle says take away 11. We're just going to deal with it one part at a time. So right now it says take away 10 out of the 11. We have 10, 1 here, so we need to take away the 10. To do that, we're just going to bring 1 takeaway piece into the place space. That's all we have to do. No need to rewrite our numbers just yet. We're going to do that later. We just need to place it for now. Now we need to do the second half, which is for the bits, take away 1 from the 10, 1. And we're just going to bring another takeaway piece and bring it right here next to the yellow bits. Okay? Now, if you're not familiar with zero pairs, we have some other videos that go over that I would highly advise you watch. But the gist of zero pairs is that whenever a place piece and a takeaway piece are in the same space, they combine and cancel each other out to form a zero pair and become invisible. All right, that's why they typically disappear like that and become 0. But for now, we're still going to leave them here so we can keep track of them. All right. And the same rules apply for the 10s, houses of 10, and the 10 beads as it applies to the bits. So we're going to combine this place 10 and this take away 10 together, and they're going to form a 0 pair, and then they can all disappear. All right. So now we're left with our answer. When we have no more takeaway pieces, or when we only have one type of piece, right? And when we have no more takeaway pieces, then we're done with our puzzle. And now we can see our answer. So our answer is 2 10s and 1 21. All right. Now we're going to do this using our African numerals. So the same way how we have different colored beads to represent 10, or to represent bits of 10, bits of 1, and takeaway pieces, right? We also have African numerals to represent them as well. We have 1 beads, we have tick marks to represent 1 bit. We have circles to represent a takeaway 1. We have houses of 10 to represent a house of 10. And then we have this doorway opening to represent takeaway 10. All right. And I'll show you how we use them together using Egyptian numerals. So to use Egyptian numerals, we're going to do the exact same thing that we did with beads. First, we're going to start with drawing out our values. So we have 3 10s here. So we're going to draw out our 3 houses of 10. 1, 2, 3. All right. Then we also have 2 bits. So we're going to write in 1 and 2. That's all we have to do for this step. After we've placed the first number into the interface, then we're going to do the second with the takeaway pieces. Now, for takeaway pieces, instead of drawing them on their own like how we did with the beads, we're going to draw them directly on top of the place pieces if we have any. And we'll go into more detail on how to do that differently in the future if you have more takeaway pieces than positive pieces. But for now, we're just going to draw the shape that represents takeaway 10 directly over the houses of 10. All right. So we have takeaway 10. So we need to just draw over 1, takeaway 10. And this forms a this forms a 10-0 pair. That's what a 10-0 pair looks like. All right. Same deal over here with the 1. Now that we've done the takeaway 10, we're going to do the takeaway 1 by just drawing the takeaway piece directly over the place piece. And we can draw it like this. All right. So now we have 2 10s and 1, 21. And then we can still see our we can still see our 0 pairs here left behind, but they'll just disappear and we can erase them on our paper in the future. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Let me know if you have any other questions, and we'll be doing some more in the future real soon. Happy learning. And don't forget, education is preparation for the next generation to inherit their nation. Happy learning.